pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode podcast to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. Huge shout out to the people that occur in the chat. We got John, we got Edward, we got Kevin, we got Crazy Panda, Lorenzo. What's up, y'all? Appreciate you guys for being here. Up and foremost, do me a huge favor, smack up the like button here on your way in and subscribe. We are on the road to 17K. Right now, we are 30 subscribers away from the beautiful mark of 17K. Cannot do it without you guys. So go ahead, subscribe it up. We are going to go ahead and have content out of your ears in this season of football season. Ladies and gentlemen, football's back. If you guys do not know, the Hall of Fame game is currently going on NBC. It is the Chargers versus the Detroit Lions, and there is a obliteration. Chargers are absolutely whipping on the Detroit Lions right now, 27-7, and they are in the fourth quarter, little under 11 minutes right now. But ladies and gentlemen, this is just the start. This is the start. This is the start of football season coming around. And of course, there was some breaking news that ended up dropping a little later on today. And we're going to be talking about it, right? Of course, it has to do with the Arizona Cardinals to make us a little bit better. We're going to be talking about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you guys for being here up and foremost. We're also going to be diving into day 7 of training camp, what we saw today. Now, today was more of a light practice. I'm going to be real. And I'm not sure if you guys heard, but Marvin Harrison Jr. did not participate in practice because of a injury that's not that big of a deal. We're going to be diving into that a little later on as well. But I'm going to be real. Like, the pads weren't on today for the Cardinals training camp. Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't on the field. It hit different, man. It didn't feel like training camp. The grit, the violence, that type of football, unfortunately I missed both days of pads, but they will have them back on Friday, which will be tomorrow, and I believe they're also going to have it on the red and white practice as well on Saturday. So pads are coming on today. Unfortunately, there was no pads, but it definitely was, I got a chance to see what the offense looks like without Marvin Harrison Jr. on the field. So we're going to be diving into that here pretty soon as well. So appreciate you guys for jumping on. Let's go ahead and get started, and let's talk about training camp. And then we're going to be saving that Terry McLaurin, should we not conversation for a little later on in the stream. Of course, fully engaged here in the chat. And by the way, if you guys do see me in training camp, you guys have all the permission in the world to go up and talk to me. I have multiple comments here that I'm just noticing right now on my videos saying, "Oh, I saw you in the front row," or "I saw you in the second row." Yeah, if you want to, you can say hi. If you don't want to, cool, no worries. But like I said, I'm never busy. It might seem like I'm busy because I'm usually have my headphones on because I'm focusing on the game at hand. But yeah, if you want to come up and say hi, and that's completely fine with me. By all means, please do so. But yes, I'm usually in and out. I don't really stay for the signings or the autographs and anything like that. I've called myself a ninja before. I go in, see what I need to see, go on out, because I need to take care of business here on my end. So yeah, if you want, cool, no worries. But yes, there's the permission if you want. But yeah, let's get started. Let's talk about training camp today in day 7. No pads today. We did hear from Jonathan Gannon a little earlier this morning. The big, I guess, storyline would be that Marvin Harrison Jr. was not playing today or not practicing, not playing, but he wasn't practicing today. And we did end up hearing multiple different tweets ended up coming out from obviously people that cover the Arizona Cardinals, but it's not that big of a deal. Now, like I said, training camp was different, right? It hit a little different. It didn't feel as exciting, I guess. I don't know, because maybe wide receiver 1 wasn't playing out there, but we did get an update here in terms of what Jonathan Gannon ended up saying here, and shout out here to Darren Urban that ended up putting this tweet out. He said this: wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. won't practice today, sore knee, but Gannon said it's not serious day to day. They're just being smart, right? At the end of the day, they're just being smart with Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, they had back-to-back padded days on Monday and Tuesday. They had a break on Wednesday, so a little bit of a soreness that ended up happening here with Marvin Harrison Jr., but nothing to freak out about. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Now, we talked about this on a pod before. Should the Arizona Cardinals play these guys in preseason? 110%, they should play these guys in preseason. Whether it's a drive or two each game, right? Game 1, game 2, maybe not game 3. That's completely fine. We don't need to see him in game 3, but I do believe that we need to see Marv and the rest of the guys in, as close as regular season football as we can get without getting to regular season. You know what I mean? So I would love to see Marvin Harrison Jr. in preseason, as well as Kyler Murray, Michael Wilson, Trey McBride, even if it's a series or two or a drive or two. I would love nothing more for them to get the chemistry down and making sure that these plays can work. Now, of course, it's going to be a very vanilla offense, but that's still going to be really, really good timing and chemistry that can be accomplished here. Now, we still don't know if they are going to be playing. I hope the Cardinals learn from their mistake last year, because I've said this from probably the start of the season till probably 2 or 3 weeks or maybe even a month in. Like, people were annoyed with me saying it, but it's the truth. The Cardinals should have played their starters in preseason. I hope that they learn that the preseason is important. We're not asking for a quarter. We're not asking for a half. We're asking for a drive or two to get them into the rhythm of getting as close as to regular season football as they possibly can. So no worries with Marvin Harrison Jr. Everything looks to be okay, right? He's day to day, and at the end of the day, they're being smart. Now, we haven't heard a direct update from Walter Nolen, but I saw Walter Nolen today. He was talking with Monty Ossenfort, and as you can tell, he's got that bandage on his is that his right calf right there. And of course, we know that he's got a calf injury. I didn't see a limp, guys. I did not see a limp. Now, he also was signing autographs for fans after training camp as well. And shout out to my guy Mythic AZ that ended up getting a video with him, and he was, signing autographs. When I saw him walk, he didn't look to walk in any limp. I'm going to be real here, but he was in practice. Obviously, he did not have his uniform on. He is still currently on the PUP list, but he was having a conversation with Monty Ossenfort. So this seems to be a good sign, right? I mean, I guess if you want to have some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, this seems to be a good sign that Walter Nolen, I hope the Cardinals are just being smart with them, even if we don't see him in preseason. Like, I don't care. I really don't care. If we see him during the regular season in week 1 or maybe even a week 2, I would see that as an absolute W. Like, I would see that as an absolute W. Obviously, we want to see the 16 overall pick on this defensive line, but overall, it's going to be very smart for the Cardinals to just allow him to rest the way that he needs to rest, right? We're not going to be doing the thing where we're rushing him over and he re-aggravates it. No, calf issues, calf injuries are very, very fickle, and they can be something bigger if you don't allow it to rest the way that they need to rest. So just an update, Marvin Harrison Jr. did not practice today. Jonathan Gannon said everything seemed to be, like, they're just being smart at the end of the day, right? And I also did see Walter Nolen. This is the first time I actually seen Walter Nolen, like, with my own eyes. I have heard that he has been on the practice field, but obviously not in jersey or not in uniform. But I saw him with my own eyes talking to Monty Ossenfort today. No limp. Everything looked kind of good with my own eyes, but obviously I'm not a doctor, so I don't really know exactly when he's coming back. But hopefully positivity, fingers crossed that it's all looking good. Now, like I said before, we finally got a chance to see what this offense looks like without Marvin Harrison Jr. on the field. Guess what? Guess who's that player that Kyler Murray was very much favoring today? Who do you think that was? Who do you think that was that Kyler Murray was favoring when Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't on the field? Wide receiver, not receiving weapon, right? Because obviously you can throw Trey McBride. Trey McBride's always going to be the number one weapon for Kyler Murray. Let me rephrase the question. Who do you think Kyler Murray was targeting in the wide receiving core the most today when Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't on the field? It wasn't Michael Wilson. I was actually very surprised. Now, there was a few targets. I'm not going to come out here and say Michael Wilson did not get targeted or he didn't make a catch. He did make a catch, and he looked really good. I like Michael Wilson. I think he's a really solid number 2 wide receiver. Do I think he's a great wide receiver number 2? Nope, but I do think he's a very capable NFL wide receiver that can definitely get us 500 yards. I want to see the next step of Michael Wilson, and I'm really hoping that we're going to be crossing the bridge of 700, 800 yards, because that would really solidify him to become that wide receiver number 2 for the Cardinals, right? He's been stuck in that 500-yard, spot for as long as he's been in the NFL. I love it. I love the production, but I think it's time to take that next step here for Michael Wilson. But now going back to the same question that I had, who do you think he was targeting the most? No, not Xavier Weaver either. No, Zay Jones. Zay Jones. Wayman in the chat. Zay Jones. Yup. Zay Jones was getting so many looks, whether it was a hook route or whether it was a kind of a corner route, whatever it was, it seemed to be the Zay Jones show. And that's actually kind of intriguing, right? I would have loved it to be Xavier Weaver. I would have loved it to be Michael Wilson, but no, it was Zay Jones. So I think the Arizona Cardinals are a lot more, what's the word? They like him a lot more than, I'm not going to say us, check, because I like Zay Jones. I do. Would I rather bring in another veteran? Of course, right? Of course I would. But I do like Zay Jones. Some people might not think I do, but I do. But I think the Arizona Cardinals truly like Zay Jones. Like, he's coming back from the start of the season. He's not going to miss 5 games. I don't know if you remember, but last year he was suspended for the first 5 games, so you didn't really see him until, what, week 6, week 7. And of course, at that very moment, we had our own issues, right? We were trying to force feed Marv. We're trying to force feed Trey McBride. But now Kyler's getting comfortable with this potential third option. And his third option might be Zay Jones. Zay Jones. So I found that a little fascinating, right? I found that a little fascinating. I want to see Michael Wilson get a little bit more involved in training camp. But like I said, I mean, training camp is mainly used to get the gears going, try to see what works, try to see what doesn't work. But yeah, I was actually very surprised with that. I'm going to be real. I was very, very surprised. Chill Peasy, what's up, man? He says, nice. Zay Jones is a proven number 2 as a few years ago. Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals like him a lot more than I guess I gave him credit for. So our next conversation that we're going to be having in the next minute or two, talking about Terry McLaurin, right? Which might be relevant, might not be relevant, but we're going to talk about it because obviously it's breaking news. And anything to do with the Arizona Cardinals we're going to be talking about. But yeah, I was very shocked with that. I thought we were going to see the Michael Wilson show. I truly did. But nope, it was the Zay Jones show. He at least easily got 5-6 targets his way. Easily. 5 or 6 targets going his way. So it's cool. It's really cool to see, honestly. Let's see what he does in preseason. Like I said, I want to see these guys in preseason. I hope the Arizona Cardinals coaching staff learns from what happened last year when we thought we didn't need to have preseason reps for these guys. I hope they learn. I really do. I think it's very important for them to go out here and get more comfortable with each other. I feel like that's going to be one of the most important things heading into year 3 of Kyler, Petzing, and Gannon. Watching from Australia, loving your updates. Bummed that it seems like Michael Wilson hasn't made a step forward this season. I mean, I wouldn't come out here and say that and that's the tough part, right? Like, we heard Jonathan Gannon come out and say that don't look too much into who's rolling with the 2s, who's rolling with the 1s, who's rolling with the 3s. Jonathan Gannon came out and said that himself, right? Don't worry about too much about that. But like, it's hard to not pay attention to these type of things, right? Like, obviously, Michael Wilson not getting as much targets, especially when, Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't there. It almost seems like it's the next guy, which is, Zay Jones. And then another thing, we're seeing a lot more reps of Zaven Collins in the middle linebacking role. Like, we're seeing a lot more reps. I'm not saying it's every single rep. No, but like, it's at least 1 or 2, right? At least 1 or 2 every training camp. Now, we heard Jonathan Gannon come out and say that he wants to use his versatility. He wants to use his athleticism and what he can do, right? But he's an edge rusher. We heard Jonathan Gannon say that multiple times. But we're seeing him in training camp at the middle linebacking position. So will the Cardinals use him in some sort of package? Maybe. I mean, he's got the flexibility to do it. He knows the role. He was brought in when we drafted him to be the middle linebacker. I mean, what would the Cardinals do? I don't know. But we are seeing him in the middle linebacking position on the defense in a very few small sample size plays in training camp. And this wasn't the only day. It happened last week as well. Or it might have been earlier this week. So maybe another thing to look out for there. Randall V in the chat says, Cards ain't spending money like that on a wide receiver. Let's dive into that now. Great segue. Let's dive into it. And just for the sake of the sake, let's ring the bell. All right, guys, if you guys are not fully caught up with NFL news, obviously today is the Hall of Fame game. The Chargers absolutely destroyed the Detroit Lions, but that's not the headline. That's not the headline of today. The headline is that the Arizona Cardinals did not have breaking news, but the Washington Commanders did. And guess what? Terry McLaurin, per Adam Schefter and Jordan Schultz and Ian Rappaport has requested a trade to be traded away from the Commanders. Now, this is a big topic, right? This is a big kind of how do you attack this, right? Because there's multiple different questions that you can do this, right? Because we've talked about this over a month ago. Now, we also talked about Trey Hendrickson as well. We mentioned that Trey Hendrickson might want out. Currently, right now, he still hasn't had a contract extension. JJ Watt, we talked about him TJ Watt, we talked about him earlier as well. He finally got a contract extension, but there's two guys that we talked about over a month ago. Hendrickson, McLaurin. McLaurin still hasn't got his contract extended. And now the next step is he's requesting to leave, right? He's requesting to leave. So, of course, me doing what I do, I jump over to X/Twitter and make a very simple post. I feel like it's kind of my trademark to go over to Twitter and just say something as simple as, Monty, pick up the phone, right? Because we've heard it before where Jonathan Gannon and Monty Fort both say that we leave no stone unturned, right? So when I say things like, Monty, pick up the phone, I would hope that that stone would be unturned, right? Or at least asked, right? I'm not coming out here and say, oh, you have to do this or you're a terrible GM. No, I'm not saying that. No. But if truly your mantra is we're leaving no stone unturned, I would hope that somewhere down the road you are making a call to the Washington Commanders and saying, hey, so he wants out. Okay. What will it take? Now, that conversation doesn't need to be leaked. I trust Monty Fort a hell of a lot more than I trust the last regime. What he's done so far in these 3 years, especially this year specifically in this offseason, I'm not doubting him. Anything he can do, I think he's done wonders for this team in terms of building it. But I would at least hope that he can call and at least ask, right? To pick up the phone. And I got a lot of responses. I got a lot of responses here on X and Twitter. Now, there has been a lot of positivity to that specific post. A lot of people were like, yeah, I agree. I'm going to smack that like button. Now, some people kind of came out and said, no, right? There was one specific follower, shout out to Brian. He ended up telling me, tell me you don't understand Petzing's offense without telling me you don't understand, right? So I understood it because we actually had a really cordial conversation amongst each other. And I think what he was kind of coming and coming at with, he was actually just telling me that he doesn't really think that he's going to go, or the number one priority probably won't be the Cardinals. And that's fair, right? At the end of the day, we've seen this tactic before. We've seen a player request a trade, and guess what? 24 hours later, 48 hours later, he gets extended, right? This is usually the next step for any player that has some sort of contract dispute. The next step is, if I don't get what I want, send me somewhere that's going to pay me what I want, right? That's usually the next step. So I'm not going to come out here and say this is specific to Terry. No, this is specific to anybody that's looking for a contract extension. Now, we also heard the Commanders saying they don't want to trade him. They don't want to trade him. That's not something that they're looking to do, right? So obviously it takes two to tango. It takes the Commanders to want to move off of him, and then it takes the Arizona Cardinals to want to give him a package that they're going to be willing to take, because Terry McLaurin is a number one wide receiver. Kid you not, he's a number one wide receiver. Now, the main reason why I made this post was because I love the idea of no stones unturned. Okay, perfect. Well, no stones unturned means you're going to call up and say, what will it take, right? What would it take? Because truthfully, if you add a player like a Terry McLaurin, and I'm talking to you, Monty Fort, right? I doubt you're watching, and that's fine. But truly, if you make a move like this, bring in a Terry McLaurin, or heck, I'm even going to throw a Hail Mary out there, right? If you go after let's say, for example, a Trey Hendrickson, right? Which was a player that we've been talking about all offseason as well. That is a Super Bowl defining move. I kid you not. Right now, do I feel like this team is a Super Bowl contender? No, I don't think so, but I think we're a playoff contender. I really do, right? There's a couple things that are a little murky that I'm like, oh, I don't know. I really want to see a little bit more from the offense. I want to see how this defense gels, although we upgraded. I think the defense is the bright spot going into 2025 compared to last year, where I said the offense was the bright spot. But with what I've seen in the end of the season, I'm a little worried. I'm a little hesitant, but I got faith, right? I got faith that this team is going to be better in the second half. Now it sucks that our second half of the schedule is very, very hard. That sucks. But if Monty were to do a move like this, and I'm saying if, I'm not saying he's going to, this is a Super Bowl defining move. It is. Now, will they do something like this? Probably not. Probably not. We haven't seen Monty Ossenfort make a big swing like this. We haven't seen him do it. So I lean to the fact of maybe it will not happen. I mean, he might not even leave the Commanders, right? But do I want him, right? Do most of the people that I guess liked my post, there's a lot of Cardinal fans that would love nothing more than to bring in a Terry McLaurin to this Arizona Cardinals offense. Just look at the comments. Look at the comments. We got my guy J_Bird says this would be a move that puts them in the position to win the division. Yeah, absolutely. RJ says absolutely. Jacob says him or Micah. Okay. We got some people saying no. That's fine. Hunter in the chat says we all in this season. I get building from the draft, but we need this. Michael Wilson, wide receiver 3. Dortch in for some plays at wide receiver 4. McBride, Marv, Terry will feed families. There's a lot of Cardinal fans that would love nothing more than the Cardinals to make a big swing move like this. Now, like I said before, will it happen? Well, not since the Monty Ossenfort's regime has been here, but of course, I would love nothing more than to see this. Of course, right? Of course. We got a couple super chats coming in. We got Crazy. What's up, Crazy? Appreciate the super chat. Terry got shut out by a rookie cornerback in Quinyon Mitchell twice. Fair? But let me say this. Quinyon Mitchell plays with one of the best defenses in the entire league. He plays with one of the best defenses. So although on paper, toe-to-toe, right? That's fair to say. Now, Quinyon Mitchell is supposed to be one of the best cornerbacks in last year's draft. Now, as a veteran and a rookie, you probably shouldn't get shut out. But I would give the leg up over, obviously, to Quinyon and what he did. But still, at the other side of the coin, that defense is just nasty. That defense is nasty. And I'm talking about the Eagles defense. Very good drafters, very good at free agency, very good in retaining the talent and not letting those guys slip. They're very, very good in those type of things. So that's fair. But, man, Terry, Marv, Trey, that's an offense that will feed families for sure. For sure. Chill Peasy in the chat. We needed an elite pass rusher over an elite wide receiver. Well, fair. That's fair too. I'm leaning on that BJ Ojulari is going to be okay by the start of the season. Call it foolish optimism, but that's what I'm leaning on right now. That he's going to be ready to go. Right? But yeah. I'm cool with upgrading the defense too. But that's the thing. Like, I always kind of go back to, like, is this a Monty Ossenfort move? And I hate saying that, but it's the truth, right? It's the truth. And we always kind of have to go back to that. Is this a Monty Ossenfort move? And so far with what we've seen from this organization under Monty Ossenfort, it doesn't really seem like a Monty Ossenfort move. I'm going to be real. But this would be a crazy, crazy move if the Cardinals were to do it. Now, there's not been any rumbles. No, absolutely not. There's no links. There's nobody talking about Cardinals should go after, Terry McLaurin, other than obviously maybe podcasts that cover the Arizona Cardinals that would love nothing but his services. But pipe dream, right? It's just like when we were talking about Miles Garrett, right? It's just like when we were talking about TJ Watt at one point. It's the same thing, right? It's the idea of, oh, damn, potential, right? Potential. He would bring the offense in another level. That's true. That's true. Now, will the Cardinals do it? Probably not. Probably not. But man, it's nice to dream though. It's nice to dream. Let me ask you guys this. Serious question. And I'm gonna piggyback off my guy Chill Peasy here. What's up, Chill? Who would you rather get? And I'm not saying it's the Cardinals are gonna go after one of these guys, but who would you rather get? Well, would you focus down on potentially a Trey Hendrickson, or would you want to go after a Terry McLaurin? Who? Would you rather go after a Trey Hendrickson if the option was there, right? If the option was there, or would you go after a McLaurin? Let me know in the chat. Because as of right now, in terms of the Arizona Cardinals cap space, we got cap. I think we're still probably top 5 in the amount of cap throughout the entirety of the NFL. Now, of course, it's not smart to spend all your cap. Of course, injuries happen. You got to be able to have some sort of buffer. That's the truth. But the Arizona Cardinals right now are sitting at the 5th most cap space in the NFL. We had $35 million, 35.4 per over the cap. Right now, $35.4 million per over the cap in cap space. We're top 5. Now, no, we're not the Patriots. They got like 60 mil. It's crazy. A little under 60 mil. So it's maybe a little bit more realistic for them to throw the bag at him, right? And I'm talking about the Patriots because the money. But the Cardinals got money. It's not like we're rolling with chump change. No, we got a good amount. So question to y'all. Is it Hendrickson or is it McLaurin? If you would have to choose, if you were the general manager, I guess the question is there, right? Carson in the chat says, Trey, easy. Give me 17.5 sacks. Love it. Ryan in the chat says, Trey. Or trade a couple first for Micah. Bro, get 300 and all right. We got a few Treys. Okay. Trey Hendrickson. Terry don't get it. Okay. Okay. So chat spoken. It seems like Trey Hendrickson might be the guy that you guys maybe want to lean a little bit more on too. And here's the thing. Trey Hendrickson did go back. If you guys do not know or don't stay up to date of NFL news, the latest on Trey Hendrickson is that he has gone back to training camp because he doesn't want to be a distraction to his teammates, right? He went back to training camp, but now I think he's doing more of a hold-in. He's getting fined like 50,000, like $50K a day. So of course he's going to be like, oh, I'm going to be back. I'll be there, right? But we heard the same thing with the Browns as well. I don't think their intention is to trade him. Same thing like we heard from the Commanders. I don't think their intention is to trade him either. But let's see. Let's see what can happen once somebody's hand is forced, right? We'll have to kind of wait and see how it all shakes out. But as of right now, this defense is the bright spot of the 2025 Arizona Cardinals. And we're so close to preseason football, guys. So freaking close to preseason football. It's not this Saturday, but next Saturday. On August the 9th is the first preseason game. And I get it. It's preseason. You're probably sitting back and being like, chill, right? We still got a full month for regular. Yeah, you're right. But football junkie like me, and especially because my Arizona Diamondbacks are imploding this team, I need something to hold on to. So let me have this. Let me have this. I will gladly overblow this preseason left and right because football's back. Football's back, baby. The Chargers just whipped the Detroit Lions on the Hall of Fame game, and it wasn't even close. Let's take a couple comments here on the chat. Kendrick says, why do the Cardinals always lose to the Sea Chickens? I don't think we always do. I think we got swept this last year. So if you're talking about recency, yeah, I mean, the Seahawks were the only team in the division that gave us an extreme amount of problems this last year. an extreme amount of problems this last year. They were the only team in the division. The 49ers, we swept them. Now, granted, yes, we did play Josh Dobbs in the last part of the season. So there's that. And then we were literally a head doink away. That ball was going to Trey McBride, but hit him in the helmet. And we could potentially have swept the Rams, right? So we split with the Rams and we got swept by the Seahawks. So I don't think we always lose to the Seahawks. Did we lose both games last year? We did. But they were the only team that gave us issues. The only team that gave us issues. I'm excited about what we can do this year. Our defense is so much better. So much better. And it does seem like Will Johnson might get that starting nod, is what it seems, especially with the injury of Star Thomas. It definitely seems like Will Johnson will be getting the nod at the start, right? Will Johnson, Garrett Williams, Max Melton. And we also did hear that Garrett Williams might be playing outside a little bit, right? Now, obviously, depending on certain packages, but we did hear that Garrett Williams might be on the field a lot more. He's arguably your best cornerback. Jonathan Gannon recognized last year that, hey, why are we taking out our best players just because they're nickels, guys, right? Just because they're a nickel quarterback. So we might be seeing Garrett Williams out on the outside in certain packages, which I'm game. I'm game for. I'm game for. Sebastian in the chat says, I missed the Nolen update. What's new? So the only thing that it's nothing from official from the Cardinals. So I want to be clear. Nothing official from the Cardinals when it comes down to Walter Nolen. The only thing that I have here that I saw in training camp today was that I ended up catching this picture on the while I was in training camp. Right here. Walter Nolen and Monty Ossenfort. And he was not, and now granted, he's got a calf issue, right? A calf injury is what was going on with Walter, right? You should probably be walking in some sort of limp. Now, you could tell that he's got some sort of brace right there on the right calf, right? No limp, no anything. I'm hoping, and I'm just speaking in positivities here, I'm hoping that the Arizona Cardinals are just trying to be safe with him. I don't care if he doesn't play preseason. I truly don't. But I think this injury is not as bad as what Darius went through last year. I know we were feeling a little deja vu, but I think he's going to be fine. Now, even after training camp, he was doing signatures. He was signing away and not really walking in a limp. I think he's fine. But like I said, it's nothing confirmed by the Cardinals. He's still on the PUP list, right? If Jonathan Gannon is asked, he's going to say he doesn't know right now. So for what it's worth, that's kind of the only thing I really had, right? That's the only thing I really had. We also did mention that Marvin Harrison Jr. was not playing today. There was no pads on for the Arizona Cardinals today. Marvin Harrison Jr. was held out. He's day-to-day. And I think they're just being smart with him. Will he come back tomorrow? Maybe. Will he come back Saturday? Maybe. But pads are coming back on tomorrow for training camp. So, there's that. Let's take a couple more comments. Carson, what's up, Carson? I appreciate how Jonathan Gannon constantly is telling us that they're trying to be safe with our injured players. Good to know we're not letting our players play like Malik Neighbors. Yeah, fair. Here's the thing. I think Malik Neighbors is a real dog. I think he's going to be a really good wide receiver in the NFL for years. But I don't know. I kind of feel like the whole situation with OBJ, right, at the end, just injuries and kind of got older. I don't know. I see Marvin Harrison Jr., and I think he can be a long-term wide receiver, right? I'm talking about 10 plus years. 10 plus years, dominant. I could see it already. Now, that might be a little biasness, but I could see it happen. But no, but Malik is a dog, though. He's a dog. Had a great rookie year, and he's probably going to have a really good year 2 as well. But so is Marv. Whatever happened to AJ Green? I mean, that man retired, right? Should by now retired. Football junkies, welcome on. Absolutely. If you guys didn't watch the Hall of Fame game, probably not a football junkie, or you probably just forgot. But yes, the Hall of Fame game was on today. There's a glimpse and a little hope that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Football is almost back. Brian in the chat, what about this defense that we have now? How about if we add Darnold? Talk it. Yikes. Well, I mean, I think we're just speaking of yeah, no. Are you trying to compare the two? Well, right now, they would have a leg up because we know what they did. On paper, this Arizona Cardinal team is better, right? So many upgrades all across the defense. On paper, they're better. We just need to see it happen on the field, right? We need to see it happen on the field. Here we go, 12-5 division champs. Love to see it. Love to see it. And if you guys didn't know either, Trey McBride was he was throwing the football in training camp for a lot of Cardinal fans. It was actually pretty cool to see. Let me share my screen here real quick. Yeah, check this out. It's Trey McBride right there. He was throwing the football back and forth with a lot of Cardinal fans. It's cool, man. It's really cool to see Trey McBride becoming that fan favorite now. Like, it's the little things, right? It's the little things that you grow to really love a player with little things like that. It's cool. It's cool to see it. So awesome. Read a couple more comments, and we will be closing up shop. We are doing a late evening stream. Let me know if you guys like this. I'm usually more of a morning person. Like to do my morning shows in the morning. Do you guys like these afternoon streams? Now, obviously, times will change when the season comes around, but let me know here in the comments. Give me some feedback. I know I'm flirting with the idea of potentially doing multiple streams, including regular videos and shorts, of course, throughout the entirety of the season. But of course, I gotta figure all that stuff here on my end. But let me know how you're feeling about the afternoon streams. If it's more, I guess, easier to jump onto. Rebel in the chest is Kyler Murray undefeated in Texas, and I hope that stays the same this year. I hope that still stays the same this year. What would happen in a draft? Got drafted. What if we got Marvin Emily? Well, that wouldn't have been possible. I mean, unless somehow the Cardinals jump back up, right? If they traded back, nah, I don't think that would have been possible. But I mean, right now we are talking about potentially wide receiver too. Right now, I'm hoping that we can take that next step, man. Especially with Michael Wilson, because believe it or not, although I like Michael Wilson, there's still a lot of unknown with him. There's still a lot of unknown with Michael Wilson. So let's have him prove it. Let's have him prove it. Couple more comments and we'll be closing up shop. Appreciate you guys for being here. Dez in the chat says, what's up, Cardinal Nation? Absolutely. Smack the like button if you guys are just joining in here right now. I think we got very close to 100 people on the YouTube side. And yeah, let's go. We got a lot of people here right now. So we might be doing these evening streams. I feel like it's a little bit better. So yeah, smack the like button here on your way in. Appreciate y'all. We got over 100 of you guys here on the YouTube side. Smack it up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for being here. Uncanny on the chat says, we all need to buy the AZ Sports Fan t-shirt and merch this Saturday. Red, white practice. All right. Who and what are we giving up for Terry? I mean, it would be draft capital, right? It would be draft capital and potentially a player is what I can think of for the Cardinals to do something like that. Like a player would make it less draft capital, but I'm going to be real. If you're probably going to go after a Terry McLaurin, like the age might help the Cardinals with maybe a second round or a third round. Like you're going to have to obviously package something. Now, if you throw a player in there, it would be a little bit less for the draft capital for the Arizona Cardinals, but like, yeah, it's going to be a hefty deal. if the Cardinals are to do something like this. Now, there hasn't been anything said, right? Nothing's been said out there that there's links to the Cardinals going after Terry McLaurin. No. The only thing that we're talking about right now is that Terry McLaurin requested a trade, right? He requested out. That's all we're talking about right now. Should the Cardinals pursue? Is this something that the Cardinals will do? Now, we mentioned this before. It doesn't really seem like a Monty move. Would I want to see it? Yeah, that would be cool. That would be awesome. I just probably don't see it happening, right? Probably don't see it happening. Tampico, your morning stream is during work for me. I'm digging the evening. Okay, cool. Appreciate the feedback. We need to pick up Asante Samuel Jr. All right. You're not the first person that said that. I've read a couple comments saying the same thing, especially when Star Thomas went down. Not the first person I heard say that. Mike, the Arizona Cardinals is going to do it. Sheesh. Positivity in the air. Bolt in the chat says BJ is overrated and injury prone. Well, so far, unfortunately, we have seen BJ Ojulari not been able to stay healthy. Unfortunately, right? So far, that is what we've seen so far. Fingers crossed that he's able to stay healthy this time around, but time will tell, right? Time will tell. One more comment, and we will be closing on shop. Tampico, will you be? Yes, I should be going tomorrow and Saturday as well. Yep, I should be. Tomorrow's a definite. Saturday is 90%, 95% that I'm going to go as well. Yeah, it's the way right practice, man. I'm excited about the red and white practice. I'm stoked. I'm stoked. Preseason's around the corner. We got some football to talk about. Now, of course, it's not 2025 Arizona Cardinals football regular season, but we'll take it. Especially for a football junkie like me, I'll take it. Yes. Oh, 110%. 110%. I saw that there was an article posted on the NFLnetwork.com with like the best landing spots. And like I said, like this is a conversation to have, right? Because like I'm not just coming out here saying, oh, I want to make a live stream, but look, like the NFL, everybody's talking about this. Like if Terry McLaurin wants out, he's such a big name that people are going to talk about it. But there was an article published out there saying, what's the best landing spots, right? What's the best landing spots for Terry McLaurin? Here's the best 6 teams, right? And who was one of them? 49ers was one of them. And guess what? The 49ers just signed one of the Arizona Cardinals all-time legends at wide receiver. Andy Isabella, ladies and gentlemen, is now a 49er. If you didn't know that, breaking news. Breaking news. The 49ers signed Andy Isabella. I believe it was this morning. They're hurting for wide receivers. They're hurting for wide receivers right now. Ricky Pearsall, I don't know if he's able to stay healthy. We don't know, right? I know he got shot, came back, had a solid, I mean, not great, but pretty good, right? Rookie year. Ayuk, they don't know when he's coming back. They don't know when Ayuk's coming back. Juwan Jennings is now asking for a contract extension, right? So he might hold out. They're looking for wide receivers right now. They need help. They do. So it's one of those things right now that we're just kind of waiting and seeing, like what the Cardinals do. But if he doesn't come to the Cardinals, stay out of the NFC West. For the love of God, stay out of the NFC West. I would not be happy if he was at the NFC West. Would not be a fan at all. So, yes, I would be very, very sad. Just another reminder that we took Andy Isabella over DK Metcalf.
Emotional damage.
Absolutely. Just another reminder, man. And I remember it. I was like, what are we doing? But he's fast, though. That's what people told me. He's fast. He's so fast. He's so fast. So now we learn, right? Yeah. Just another reminder. It's terrible. Andy was a legend. I was being sarcastic. I guess I was being sarcastic. Obviously not a legend. He didn't do anything for the Cardinals. Kind of it was a flop, right? Second round pick flop for the Cardinals. Like, let's be real. So not really, really good. Yeah, but the Niners just signed Andy Isabella. Today in training camp was cool to see, but no Marvin Harrison Jr. Felt a little different. No pads, so they really weren't going 110%. Or I guess not. They weren't going the full force because no pads are on. But you saw some good plays here and there. You saw a good dosage of Trey Benson. I think he's definitely going to have a split share with Connor to hopefully preserve him and keep him healthier. I was hoping that Michael Wilson got more involved, that Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't there. Quite the opposite. We actually saw Zay Jones get a lot more involved. Of course, Trey McBride continues to be fed. And in the top cornerbacks that we're seeing is going to be Will Johnson, Max Melton, as well as Garrett Williams. And Zaven Collins is playing in the middle. He's playing in the middle linebacker in certain plays. So for what it's worth, that is going to be a lot of the updates that we saw in this training camp. Wasn't great, right? But we also did see Kyler Murray with another design play using his legs. So we're going to see Kyler Murray use his legs in 2025 a lot more than 2024, which will be something that people are really excited about. So let's see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be closing up shop right here. Martin, are you going? Yes. 95% yes. 100% tomorrow, yes, I'm going. 95, just I want to make sure that there is somebody to watch my daughter on that day. And I probably could take her, right? But if you don't have kids, you probably don't understand. They probably don't want to be sitting there that whole time like I want to be sitting there watching practice. So I got to figure some stuff out. But yes, 100% I'm going tomorrow. 95% I'm going on Saturday. So yeah. But yeah, we'll be closing up shop right here. Appreciate y'all for tuning in here. Up and foremost, thank you guys so very much. Smack the like button on your way out. You guys are all absolutely amazing. Appreciate you for rocking with me. I'm going to go ahead and close up shop right here. Have a great rest of your night. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your night. And as always, go Cardinals.